Guatemalans will go to the polls to elect a new president, a vice president, and other top officials. The governor of the Russian province of Voronezh confirms the passage of the Wagner troops throughout this region. And Sierra Leone still waits for the poll results amid opposition's accusations of election fraud. Hello from the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba. This is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. On Sunday, Guatemalans are set to go to the polls for general elections. More than 9.3 million registered voters are called upon to elect the president, the vice president, and 160 members of the Congress of the Republic, mayors, councilors of 340 municipalities in 22 departments of the country. If the candidates do not obtain 50% plus one of the votes in the first round, the presidential formula must be elected in a second round by universal, direct, and secret vote. The second round of the presidential elections will be held on August 20th, 2023, and the inauguration ceremony will take place on January 14th, 2024. The TSE will set up 3,482 voting centers throughout the country with the help of 24,585 polling stations, which is equivalent to the number of polling stations that will be set up in the voting centers throughout Guatemala. And just hours before the start of Guatemala's elections on Sunday, there have been numerous complaints about voter hauling, which is a vote suppression strategy. Those known in the Central American nation as acarreos, or voter haulers, have given rise to numerous conflicts in recent hours between neighbors and travelers. In neighborhoods such as Lindavista, Martires Alioto, Villanueva, or San Jose del Golfo, serious incidents have been reported in which residents of those areas have blocked the passage of buses, even threatening to set them on fire, using this method to limit people's access to vote centers. Given the situation, the residents of Villanueva have requested the presence of international observers and denounced the actions of its mayor, Javier Gramajo. In Argentina, candidate lists for the upcoming primary elections closed at midnight on Saturday, as presidential and legislative candidates for all competing parties were made official. After days in which different formulas were pre-announced, the ruling coalition finally presented the Argentine Minister of Economy, Sergio Massa, as its main presidential candidate in a last-minute surprise announcement, while the leftist social leader, Juan Grabois, also part of the coalition, vowed to face the minister in the primaries. For the opposition, Buenos Aires City Mayor Horacio Rodríguez Larreta and former Macri's Security Minister Patricia Bullrich will compete with the Juntos por el Cambio coalition. In addition, far-right economist Javier Milei will be the only presidential candidate for La Libertad Avanza, while Miriam Bergman and Gabriel Solano will face each other within the leftist coalition Frente de Izquierda Unidad. Open primaries will be held in August to determine which formulas will finally represent each party at the general elections of October 22nd to elect the country's president, vice president, and national legislators for the 2023-2027 period. In Honduras, members of the military police have received training as part of the training program to take control of the country's 21 prisons. The lawyer for the human rights training of the troops, Circe Amaya, reported that the Central Command of the Honduran Military Police, located about 5 kilometers south of Tegucigalpa, has at least 5 battalions installed. She explained that the troops of the command are undergoing constant training. The exercises came after the country's president, Xiomara Castro, ordered on Wednesday the military police of public order to take control of the country's prisons for a year, after the recent riot that left 46 inmates dead.
The armed forces, through the military police of public order, will make a forceful response. We are going to regain control of the penitentiary system in our country.
Now we move on to other topics. The Uruguayan Institute of Meteorology forecasts a worsening of the drought in the most affected areas of the country. The institute reported on Thursday that no significant rainfalls are expected for the rest of June and the first days of July. According to the Meteorological Office, in the basin of the La Plata River and the Santa Lucia River, less than 5 millimeters of rainfall are expected. The Uruguayan president, Luis Lacalle Pou, declared on Monday a water emergency in the metropolitan area due to the historical lack of fresh water reserves. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find the news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. On Sunday, the governor of the Russian province of Voronezh, Alexander Gusev, confirmed that the units of the private military group Wagner completed the passage through the region on their way to their bases. The regional head of state appreciated the loyalty and resistance of the local residents during the attempted riot of the private military organization. The few still active restrictions are intended to ensure security. It was also learned that the interim heads of the Donbas, Denis Pushilin, visited the units in the area and checked the fighting spirit of the soldiers in the fulfillment of the tasks assigned by the Supreme Commander of the Russian Federation. And now let's recall some of the events that took place these past few days. On Saturday, an agreement was reached in Russia between Moscow and the private military group Wagner through the mediation of the Belarusian president Alexander Lukashenko, stipulating the end of legal proceedings against the head and the members of the group. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov indicated that a criminal case for mutiny initiated on Friday against Yevgeny Prigozhin, Wagner's leader, who will now go to Belarus. Peskov also said that Wagner employees who did not take part in the actions may sign contracts with the Ministry of Defense and will not be processed. He also pointed out personal changes in the Defense Ministry can only be made by the President Vladimir Putin. In this context, Peskov said that the situation with the rebellion will not affect the course of the special operation in Ukraine. He stated that Moscow appreciated the efforts of the President Alexander Lukashenko and his purpose of avoiding bloodshed and internal confrontations. Meanwhile, different sectors of the Eurasian country expressed their solidarity and support to the President Vladimir Putin, calling the citizens to unity. Commenting on the situation arising from the Wagner military group, the deputies of the lower house of the Russian parliament, who represent the interests of the citizens of the Russian Federation, expressed their support for the Russian president as the sole commander-in-chief. From the Russian Senate, they also pronounced the importance of Putin's leadership in all the Russian regions and his role as guarantor of the Constitution. For his part, the Vice President of the Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, described the support to the country and to the President of the country as crucial to defeat the external and internal enemies. And the government leaders of several countries expressed their support to the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, in the situation in the country in connection with the attempted armed mutiny by the Wagner military group. The Russian president held telephone conversations with his counterparts from Turkey, Belarus, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan, whom he informed about the situation. The presidents of the four countries expressed their full support for the measures taken by the Russian leadership, recalling that constitutional order and the rule of law are an indispensable condition for maintaining law and order in the country. The leaders of these countries also expressed their readiness to contribute to a rapid resolution of the situation. In this context, on Saturday, Russian President Vladimir Putin addressed the nation after the insurrection of the Wagner Group's leader Yevgeny Prigozhin.
We will protect our people and our statehood from any threats, including internal betrayal. And what we are facing is betrayal, exorbitant, ambitious, and personal interest led to treason. to betrayal of both our country, our people, and the task for which side by side with our other units and subunits, the fighters and commanders of the Wagner group fought and died, the heroes who liberated Soledar and Artyomsk, cities and towns of the Donbass, fought and gave their lives for Novorossiya and the unity of the Russian world. Their name and glory were also betrayed by those who are trying to organize a rebellion, pushing the country towards anarchy and fratricide.
And we continue in Russia. Alexander Gusev, the governor of Russia's southern region of Voronezh, says that there can be no excuse for insurgents and urges residents to remain reasonable and calm. Gusev also voices support for the president Vladimir Putin, saying that no circumstances can make us question the correctness of the path of our president is leading Russia on, he said.
There can be no excuse for insurgents. Any attempts to violate the constitution and laws of the Russian Federation will be foiled and will fail. No circumstances can make us question that our President Vladimir Putin is leading Russia on the right path. My dear countrymen, I ask you not to give in to provocations and illegal calls. I have no doubt that the people of Voronezh region support their commander-in-chief, the military authorities, and the entire Russian army. Let us remain reasonable and calm.
And an oil depot caught fire on Saturday in the Russian city of Voronezh, local governor Alexander Gusev said. The official detailed that more than 100 firefighters and 30 vehicles are working at the fire site, while underlining that according to the first information, there are no victims. The cause of the fire was due to the detachment of a tank containing petroleum products, aviation fuel specifically, and the governor said, adding that a train of firefighters has arrived at the site to help at extinguishing the flames. And now we have a second short break coming up. But before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English, where you will be able to rewatch our interviews, our top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. We have a final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Italian rescue forces continue the search for more than 40 asylum seekers missing after the shipwreck of a boat off the coast of the southern island of Lampedusa. According to the International Organization for Migration, the IOM, of the 46 people on board, only 4 have been rescued alive so far. The tragedy occurred on Thursday, only 6 hours after their departure from the Tunisian coast of Sfax. The shipwreck was due to bad weather conditions in the central Mediterranean Sea area. Among the missing are 7 women, one of whom was traveling with a newborn baby. According to the latest report of the Italian Ministry of the Interior, from January to June 2023, 59,767 asylum seekers arrived on the Italian shores, 131% more than the 254,795 registered in the same period of 2022. Now we move on to other topics. On Sunday, Greek polling stations opened at 7 a.m. local time. The Greeks are going to the polls for the second time in 35 days to decide on the formation of a new government. The failure of the May elections has brought Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis of New Democracy and Alexis Tsipras of Syriza face to face once again. Back then, the Prime Minister had a 20-point lead over Tsipras, and preliminary polls now suggest an increase of almost 2 points. This second round will use a new electoral system promoted by the current New Democracy government, which gives the party with the most votes a bonus of between 20 and 50 seats in parliament. And Sierra Leone is still waiting for the election results to come in, as the opposition has accused the government of rigging and plotting against them. The Congress of All Peoples, the main opposition party, has sent a report to the Electoral Authority denouncing the suppression of votes and other illegal acts. They denounced that many voters were not registered, that several polling stations opened with serious delays, and that some even prevented the exercise of the right to vote. The civic platform National Elections Watch, which brings together more than 450 local groups, highlighted critical incidents. For the report, European Union observers noted delays in the opening of numerous polling stations. And for their part, voters in Sierra Leone have also denounced irregularities in the opening of the polling stations and delays in exercising the right to vote.
From 6 o'clock up to now, and now I able to get chance for votes. So almost now, let me say 20 after 4 before I get chance for votes.
We don't get now for 4 o'clock this morning. Up to now we no votes. Now 2 o'clock they go for now. And we need to vote. Yes. Because it's our rights. Sure. So we need to vote.
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.